Sure, we can jump right in. As John mentioned, thank you everyone for joining us on what is a snowy morning in Toronto, if you're in the Toronto area. If not, you may have been hit by the storm in the last couple of days or not. But as John mentioned, this is the first in our Solutions for Success series for the year 2022. We hold these webinars roughly once a month. And today's topic is Microsoft Endpoint Manager. As we know, many of our clients at Point Alliance are Microsoft Cloud clients, leveraging Microsoft 365 for a variety of tools and components. Some are using Endpoint Manager, some know what Endpoint Manager is, some have no idea what Microsoft Endpoint Manager is. So today's session is to give you a bit of a high-level overview on what Microsoft Endpoint Manager is, what the bits and pieces are, what the benefits are to your organization, and really how it can help you secure your data, both in the cloud and on premises and on a variety of devices. So John Zeri will be walking us through some slides and doing a hands-on demo. So we'll turn it over to him.
All right, thank you so much, Jonathan. Yes, as mentioned, I only have a few pages of slides here to give a bit of context and what is our today's demo is about. And we're going to go live into our Endpoint Manager and show you how it can benefit you and your organization. Just a few things we're going to cover for those that they don't know Point Alliance, who we are, and what is the Endpoint Manager, Intune, why to use a device management, and the live demo. Point Alliance is a Microsoft Gold partner with we have 10 competency and 4 gold, as you can see with the logos there. Our team is 100% Microsoft certified. We are very proud of that. And you can find more information about our company at our website, pointalliance.com/company profile, if you choose to. Right. So what is the Microsoft Endpoint Manager? So Microsoft Endpoint Manager helps deliver the modern workplace and modern management to keep your data secure in the cloud and on-premises. So Endpoint Manager consists of the 2 parts. One is for the managing the domain joined PCs on-premise, and then there is a part that's called Intune, which is manage everything from the Windows and the mobile devices. That could be Android, could be iOS or Mac OS devices. Again, Microsoft recommend new customers or new endpoint go directly to the cloud with the Intune, but existing clients, as they transition gradually, they can be a co-managed devices and gradually go to Intune to remove any on-premise dependencies. To give you, again, I know this slide is a bit small, and we will share all this presentation and the videos are our social media channels and our YouTube channel, so you can always see it. And we also will post the presentation as well. So what does Intune does? The great thing about the Endpoint Manager Intune is that as using the Microsoft Azure Active Directory sitting on the top of that architecture. So it's using the same security and to kind of manage your devices. And also we play different roles. It helps you to configure devices, help you protect your data, and also manage your apps. And this is for the company managed devices or bring your own devices. Again, as we live in the hybrid workplace these days, we will have variety of the devices connect to our environment. And to keep our environment secure, the Endpoint Manager play a very important role. And I will show in a demo that how we can take advantage of all those benefits. And again, you might ask, why a device management? Why do I need this? So traditionally, what we did with a larger organization, probably we bought the fleet of the laptops or the desktops. We image those things and then just go through those and kind of enroll those devices. But again, the traditional approach doesn't work anymore, because as soon as you image a device, the device is outdated, because the new security updates get released almost on a daily and weekly basis. So that machine right off the bat will be outdated in a matter of days. And also those images are dependent on your hardware that you bought. again, with the whole environment we live right now and the fact of the shortage of hardware, you never know what hardware you're going to get your hands on. So if you need a laptop, you cannot really be that picky that you want to get exactly the same hardware that you had last time. So the hardware changes, the providers change. So one day you might be using Dell or HP or Microsoft devices. So with the Endpoint Manager, with the device management, it's really independent of the hardware. So when we enroll a device, it really doesn't matter what kind of manufacturer it is, we will self-serve it that way. So consistent end user experience. So again, if you have a team of 4 people that they enroll hardware, doesn't matter who does that. You really remove that fact of that's always the same consistent experience for a user, just make it easier for them. Device compliance, security, and encryption, that's paramount these days, because again, we don't have our boundary of our office anymore. People working from home to have to make sure the devices are have all the security and updates and that has, and also your devices are not putting your organization out of the compliance. Data loss prevention, again, is very important. Seamless software and update enrollment. Again, people are working perhaps from home or from remote location. You don't have the luxury of the visiting and all that stuff. Just want to make sure that they're always up to date. Proactive remediation and reporting. Again, with the Microsoft Endpoint Manager, provide those things. So it actually look for things can go wrong, and to reduce the workload of the help desk, it does fixes before even the user be aware of them. So it's constantly checking to make sure everything is working as it should. And remote IT support. That means you can do a remote connection to your devices and manage them, because the end user devices, you probably don't want them to have admin access to those devices. So remote IT support allow you to connect to those devices, even though if they're working from home or a remote location. And based off all the research and reports, the return on investment is over 200%. Actually, I think the correct exact number was 274% return on investment that you do. And one item that I left last event was first one on my slide was a self-service device enrollment. That it is very important, again, in the hybrid workplace these days. So what that means is that imagine you get a brand new laptop, a brand new iPhone, or brand new Android devices. So traditionally what you did, you need to kind of send it to your managed service provider or send it to IT, do what they need to do, then ship it to user. With the new method of device management, you can just send the device right to the end user. They turn on the device, they select the language and region, they put the email address. As from that point, the device realizes this is part of your organization, and we build that device to your specification as it was an IT person was doing it. That process takes somewhere between 10 to 15 minutes, and the user end up with a fully managed device, even though that IT never touched that device. So that's it. We're gonna jump into my demo. The other thing, again, we have muted the mics because we're recording this webinar, but please feel free to post your question and we make sure we go that. So again, you can go to meeting chat and ask any question you have, and we do our best to get them all answered. And if there is a question we don't have the answer for, we will follow up with you and make sure that we provide the information requested. That's it. I will switch to my slide here. And I hope you can see my page here right now. This one here, so I can see the questions. All right, see if I can get a confirmation. Jonathan, can you see my page I'm sharing?
Yes, all good.
Okay, perfect. All right. I did a demo about 1.5 years ago, and nobody said anything. And apparently, I did not share my screen for the whole 40 minutes, and people were listening politely, not saying anything. All right, so this is the homepage for the Endpoint Manager that we have here, and you can see that Microsoft had done a great job to make the layout as intuitive as possible. And this is the ongoing process of the enhancement. Again, with every release, you see a load of new features and enhancement that make the product better and better. So we are using this product for last 5 years, and we've done lots of work with it, lots of experience with the tool, and it just getting better and better, and it's just a fantastic tool to use. And I think it's kind of if you do adopt and go to Microsoft 365 for your mail, the next step truly is implementing Microsoft Endpoint Manager, because now you're on the great platform which allow you to kind of put the building blocks together, and that's will be the next step to kind of be able to manage your devices, not because you want to control the users, but because you want to give them a better experience, a work experience, especially as I keep saying this, with a hybrid workplace. It is not the traditional way of that IT can go around and look at the machines and see what's happening. So we want to make sure the user have best experience. So again, we look at the different things that we have. You can see on the this is a home with a dashboard and services and devices. So I'm going to start from devices and show what we have here. So from the devices, as I mentioned earlier, Endpoint Manager does manage the Windows devices, iOS, and iPad, macOS, and Android. For today's interest, because we only have such a limited time, we're going to concentrate on the Windows platform. So when you go to a Windows platform, again, this is by the way, this is a live production that I'm showing you. Just kind of see, this is not a demo we put together, it's a live. And I love all these green checkboxes that kind of show all the devices compliant. And again, with the Point Alliance, we've been working from home for the last 640 plus days and those things, and we really don't have the access to kind of go in and update the devices. But if just one thing I show you here on the OS versions, you can see all our machines are up to date and they're running without no issue. And again, that's amazing. That's really the best thing in IT infrastructure person to look at it. So, okay, this is fantastic. And then what you need to do, and it's our role when we partner with you to implement the Endpoint Manager, to set up the compliance policies and configuration policies. Those are what your organization required to do. It depends on type of organization. A financial company would have different requirement than a healthcare company or a non-for-profit. So again, Microsoft allow you to have many different policies and configuration. You basically can manage anything within your desktop that you have on the security side, on the UI side, and so on. I'm going to go over a few of these items that I think is very important. One of them is BitLocker. The fact of being able to kind of enable the encryption on the devices, it is very important these days, because if something happened to the device, you want to make sure that nobody going to get access to data was stored on the device. So again, every device, when you get provision, you get encrypted. And the great thing about the BitLocker within Endpoint Manager, because again, as I mentioned, all of this sitting on top of the Azure Active Directory platform, all those information is stored within the user's profile. So with the traditional BitLocker, you have to store all those keys somewhere. You don't have to worry about it. They're all in the same place. Then we got the device restriction. We manage Edge Chromium, for example, what the Edge does, the bookmarks and those things. So one example I show you on my screen here is this, our Point Alliance favorite bookmark. So we manage this thing and push it to all the devices. And we find that that's a great way, because especially for when you have a new team member join and looking for this link and where can I find those information, we trying to bring those information at user and kind of make it accessible within the different browser. Again, you can do this one with the Edge, and you also can do this with the Google Chrome. Endpoint protection. You want to make sure that you're not different type of problems could cause with the machine. Somebody trying to run a program which is not approved by the organization. What do you want to block? What do you want to allow? Do I want to allow the USB keys on the laptop works or not? Really, you have lots of control. Other one I want to point on is the OneDrive, for example, just to implement the OneDrive integrated with the desktop. One of those questions that we get all the time, and the end user get confused. How do I use a OneDrive and so on? So as part of our implementation, what we recommend is that make OneDrive take over your known folders, it's called, which is your My Document, My Desktop, and your picture. So basically, by default, everything you put on desktop on a document, it is part of your OneDrive. So this is just transparent to user. User just do the work, and it will just, life goes on, and they don't have to worry about it. Privacy setting, start and taskbar. Again, you want to kind of organize this for the user to kind of be able to kind of see the icons you want to see or what you want to promote. So in our case, for example, if I go to my taskbar, you can see this is our Point Alliance favorite. So we push this thing to the user. The rest of them is open if they want to change, but this part, it is controlled by us. So they will have access to the application we want. Again, you can customize that very easy. Windows health monitoring. It is very important to make sure the health of the machine, and I will go to one of the devices and show you how that information will assist you to make sure about the health of the machines, and if there is user running into the problem, how can you remedy that, even though they are working from home and you don't have direct access to the machines. Next is implementing Windows Hello for security. So when the user log in, to make sure they're using the two-factor authentication, you are using the, you can use allow the PIN, and or if your device, you use a Surface device or using a device that is the camera enabled, so people can log in with the face recognition and so on. So you can set all those things. So I will go to one of our devices here, and so in this case, this is my demo user within the live thing. So Tom actually does not work for Point Alliance, as a disclaimer. So this is just a demo machine that we're using. And you can see within here, I can look at lots of information. I can look at this machine's hardware to see what kind of hardware the person has, the total storage, how much free space they have, how much memory, and so on. Device compliance, if this machine is compliant or not. You can see, we see all those green checkboxes. Device configuration, has all the policies that have been applied to users, and if there is any issue. So you can look at every single policy you put and what applies to that. By the way, the policies, when you apply them for a configuration and so on, is set up based off the condition. So again, it's not a one for all. So you can have different security requirement for your management than you have for your staff. And again, maybe management, for example, can use the USB key, but the staff cannot. So again, that's very dynamic, and you can manage it as you wish. So it's not one for all or nothing. So as I mentioned with the BitLocker, the information for the user is right here. So if I need a BitLocker key ID, I don't have to look for it. It is all stored here. User experience. This is very important because especially working from home, you always get this thing that people say, my connection is not good, or maybe my audio video conference is not running. And it's hard to diagnose sometimes because we're all working on our own network and Wi-Fi access that we get through the providers, and experiences are different. It's not always related to the hardware that we have. So this way you can look at the endpoint analytic of the user and look at the startup performance, for example, to see if that how is the machine start, and so on. So this is lots of valuable information that you will not get this one with the other tool, and will help you. So last night I requested diagnostic because I want to get a diagnostic for this machine because Tom was complaining about performance. So I requested, Nike as an IT person can download this file and analyze what is happening. Then we get to manage apps, and this is amazing because you can push the apps to the devices, and again, depends on the type of the user and type of the machine you have. For example, Tom is using a Dell machine. So I'm pushing the application that is related to the Dell. And this is all done through a dynamic group within Azure AD. So because with dynamic group, you can actually detect the type of the machine the user have, because this information is all discoverable. So we can do all those things. And we can even remove things. Like I find that I don't want like an Xbox game bar to be on a machine. So the things are removed. And also we have a slew of the application here that is available in the company portal. And the company portal is like your personal app store for the employee. So you might not need to install it by default because it's not required, but it is there if they needed to. So if somebody they get in a meeting that they have to use GoToMeeting and those things. So you don't want them to kind of wait and just make a request. Make those things available that it is fall within your organization boundaries security, and they can self-install it with one click and does not require any elevated administration. The other thing you also notice, because of the Endpoint Manager, of course, as a Microsoft product, also sends your licenses. So with the Microsoft 365 apps, will install the licenses that you are assigned to. So if, let's just say you have a Microsoft licenses for the user and someone need a license of Visio. So all you have to do is to go and add a Visio license for the user. Endpoint Manager will detect that they have a license for Visio and will install a Visio for them automatically. Again, you don't have to do anything. The other thing that you can see, one of the apps got installed called Remote Help. Actually, this was just got added about a month or two ago, actually late November, and it's still in the beta. It's not fully released. What it does allow you to actually remote access the users to be able to kind of give them support as a support team. So previously, what you have to do, either go with a team viewer or a third-party tool. And so, as I said, they're constantly adding stuff to the tool and just getting better and better. The other thing that I want to show you, as I mentioned, again, with the apps, there's many ways to kind of add the apps for the users. So if you go to Windows app, so you got the Windows App Store, then there are files you can download from provider, like with the, for example, with the Cisco AnyConnect, you can download the MSI files and so on. So, or you can build your own app. For example, with the Adobe Acrobat, we actually package this app that you can push things. Basically, you'll be able to push any app as you wish. And again, this is the whole idea of the self-service, that the user get added to the group that associated with. Turn on the brand new laptop, they do all this, they do the authentication, and after that, this tool will detect what they should be receiving and will provide them with all the installed and all the apps for them without they have to do any action on it. Again, it just happens automatically. And then you can kind of go in and kind of check to make sure if the machine is healthy or not. The other thing that we have within the compliance things, if the machine is falling behind on their updates and so on, we have built notification that we add to the system. Basically, if something goes wrong with the machine, IT get emailed with the information before even the user know about it. And that's the thing that's very important, that the IT is proactive. They don't have to kind of constantly babysit the system. That if something goes wrong, they'll get notified. The other great thing that they keep adding, and it just makes the managing of your environment much easier. And I said, again, it's evolving almost like, I feel like on a daily basis. It's like a Surface management portal. Again, we use Microsoft Surface devices for our tool. So basically, you can look at this thing and see what the health of your devices is, what is in the compliant or not, and also all the warranty information, how great that thing is. You can look at this for planning of it. That's okay. I need to kind of these things in coverage, and when does it end, and all the information it is at your fingerprint tip. And that's make it easier for planning. So if you're trying to plan and kind of need to kind of upgrade the stuff, you kind of look at it, okay, I have this much time before they run up the warranty. So again, our devices, some of them are good till 2023 and so on. One last thing I want to mention here, I know we kind of only have 5 minutes, and I want to make sure I answer any question you might have. Under reports, there is lots of reports available here that give you a great information on the Windows update or endpoint analytic and so on. And this one is great because you can look at all your machines and kind of say what kind of, how is your environment in general, those things. With a startup performance, I mentioned about the proactive remediations, if it was. So this is, we applied it to a couple of users, how many people had the issue, how many of them got fixed, and what is happening with those things. Application reliability, work from anywhere information, that you can look at those things. So lots of great things here. You go to the Windows. I love this report. As the Windows 11 is released now, you want to plan upgrading your machines, there's no guessing anymore that how you're going to manage those things. Easily you can look at it and see how many of your machine, based off the information we gather, is capable of running a Windows 11 in the optimal mode or not, and all from here. So again, I only highlighted a few things that I can go for a long time discussing all this. So it is lots of great things built into this thing, and it's a sea of information. And really, I can go for hours to kind of talk about this. So this is a few things that I think will benefit you, and I highly recommend using that. Microsoft Endpoint Manager licenses, likely it is part of the licenses you have. If it's not, you can add it as a la carte or with adjusting licenses. So I will switch back to my presentation here 1 second to kind of share one more piece of information with you. And right, so we're gonna go back to the here. I just want to kind of tell you about what's Endpoint Manager and what the researcher has said. As I mentioned, the return on investment is huge. So it was 278% actually return on investment. Gartner has recognized Microsoft as leader in the Magic Quadrant for Unified Endpoint, and again a leader in the with the Wave Forrester. So again, as of the last quarter, Microsoft has been leader for the security, leader for the Endpoint Manager, and also audio and video conference. And really, they're taking over and done an amazing job through the whole pandemic to assist their clients to be able to kind of do their daily task with a very little hiccup. The last thing is that how is a point alliance will be able to assist you? And again, how we engage with our clients is that to set up that fundamental compliance and configuration apps for you, which will get you probably about, with our experience we have gathered over the last 5 years, will get us about 85% to where you want to be. And we work closely with you to make sure we cover the remaining 15%. And the environment is set up for you to run your pilot. The last many implementation I've done, the client said, you know what, you made this so easy, we don't even need your help with that after that, and they become self-sufficient. You also, again, by scanning the QR code, I encourage you to check out our Microsoft AppSource listing for the implementing Endpoint Manager. And that's it. That brings our presentation to the end. I'm right at the 11:59. Again, I'd be happy to answer any question you might have. And also you have our contact information. Please feel free to reach out to us. Any question you might have, and we'd be happy to assist your organization with implementing this. And Jonathan, I don't know if you want to have any closing remarks before the end.
No, I don't think so. I think that was very good, John. I think it gave people a nice overview. I think as you mentioned, you know, there is experience required in setting up some of the profiles, but once you sort of get it set up, there's not a ton of care and feeding that's required. And I know that the clients that are running it that we have certainly have seen the benefit, especially with new staff joining and a remote workforce, of being able to just drop ship laptops to new staff, have them connect to the internet and log in, and that's all that's needed. So, you know, the days of having a boardroom full of laptops and someone spending hours on each laptop and imaging it and all of those sorts of things have sort of changed, and lots of good benefits here.
All right, thanks very much. Again, thank you all for attending today's webinar. I really appreciate it. Again, we have these webinars scheduled for the 3rd Tuesday of each month. And again, we have lots of great events that are coming up. Again, next one is the Microsoft Teams phone that we have, DocuSign, Outlook. We are all about Microsoft and how the tool that with the licenses you have can make your life easier and be more productive. So we're looking forward to see you next month, and thank you. Have a wonderful day.